So 11.4, simplifying rational expressions. So we're going to be simplifying, multiplying, and dividing in 11.4. Part A starts off with simplifying rational expressions. And so here are steps that we'd follow. So step 1, factor everything. So we factor everything using our factoring rules that we've learned. So if you don't have them memorized, you may want to make yourself a little cheat sheet for your test and for your final so that you can have that with you at all times. 2, we're going to rewrite as multiplication of factors. So we rewrite everything as multiplication. 3, we simplify, which means to eliminate and combine like terms if possible. And then step 4, we're going to state the restrictions on the variables, okay? And the restrictions mean what would make the denominator equal to 0, okay? Now, what to not do. So if you look over here, when you have a polynomial divided by another polynomial, you cannot just go through and cancel out terms, okay? You only can cancel out factors. You only can eliminate factors. You cannot just cancel out terms like, oh, I got a 6 here, I got a 2 here, I got an X here. That's not how it works. Do not do that. We only cancel factors, not terms. Got it? All right. So let's start with number 1. Number 1's pretty basic. So we have negative 27 x squared y divided by 9xy. Okay, so we first are going to look for what do they have in common, and remember some rules. When you have exponents and you're dividing, that means you're subtracting the powers, right? So you're subtracting the powers. So we're going to start with our number. So we have negative 27 divided by 9. What is negative 27 divided by 9? Negative 3. Now we're going to go on to our x's. We have x squared divided by x. That means I am doing what with the powers? Subtracting. So what is 2 minus 1? So that leaves me with x to the 1. Then we have y divided by y, which is just what? 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. Yeah, and that would be, I'll take it. So if we have 1 minus 1 is 0, right? And anything to the 0 power is what? 1. Okay, so then my answer is negative 3x. Do we see that? So these were a monomial divided by a monomial. Okay, so mono divided by mono, you divide like terms. Agreed? Do we all see that? All right, so this is mono on mono. Now we have a binomial divided by a trinomial. So before we do anything, we have to factor. We have a binomial divided by a trinomial, so we're going to factor. So if I have negative 6 plus 3x, this is going to factor to become 3 times x minus 2. Agree or disagree? Yes? Agree? All right. Now we're going to factor the trinomial. So what multiplies to give me 8, but adds to give me negative 6? Negative 2 and negative 4. So x squared minus 6x plus 8 is going to factor out to become x minus 4, x minus 2. Yes? So I'm going to rewrite this. So now I have in the numerator 3 times x minus 2. So writing it all in multiplication divided by x minus 4 times x minus 2. So we factored everything. We rewrite it as multiplication of the factors. And now we're going to simplify. Simplify means to eliminate. So what can I eliminate? X minus 2. And what am I left with? 3 over x minus 4. Okay, now it says step 4 is state the restriction. So restrictions is saying what would make the denominator equal to 0. So what is my restriction? X cannot equal what? it can't equal positive 4 because 4 minus 4 is 0. So this would be my answer. So we factored, wrote everything as multiples of factors. We simplified, we stated our restriction. How do we do? Doable? All right, so let's do another one. So we have 2x squared minus 3x minus 2. So this isn't a simple trinomial. This is more of a X box, right? So on here, or grouping, whichever way your heart tells you to do it. So if you choose to do X box, you're asking yourself, what multiplies to give me negative 4, but adds to give me negative 3? Negative 4 and 1. So if I do X box, so I have the X, we're going into the box. So first term in first box, last term in last box, and my numbers from my X. I have negative 4x and 1x. Remember, the purpose of X box is find the greatest common factor of each row in each column. Greatest common factor here is X. Greatest common factor here is negative 2. Greatest common factor here is 2x. Greatest common factor here is positive 1. You told me that negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, and negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. You multiply your A times your C. And that's how this guy comes into play. All right, so we factor at the numerator. And so the factors of the numerator are 2x plus 1 and x minus 2. Now we're going to factor the denominator, what multiplies to give me 6, but adds to give me 5. That would be x minus 3 and x minus 2. So we factored, we rewrote the factors as, we rewrote our expressions as multiples of the factors. Now we're going to simplify. Simplify means to eliminate and combine where possible. So I eliminate x minus 2's, agreed? And we're left with 2x plus 1 over x minus 3. Last thing is to state my restriction. And what is my restriction? 3. X cannot equal 3. And why can x not equal 3? Because it would make the denominator equal to 0. That's why x cannot equal 3. All right, questions, comments, concerns so far? Do you see how it's all little skills you already have? And they're just kind of being all boop, 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 smushed together. All right. All right, let's do a couple more. Gotta love practicing factoring. All right, x squared minus 2x minus 8. So to factor this is a simple trinomial. It multiplies to give me negative 8, but adds to give me negative 2. Perfect, 2 and negative 4. So a positive 2 and a negative 4. Okay. This one is not a simple trinomial. So again, we have to use X box or grouping. If you're a grouper, group. If you're an X boxer, X. X box is great for visual learners. Well, not an option here. All right, so 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. And our B is 4. So what multiplies to give me negative 12, but adds to give me 4? What two numbers? Switch to negative 2 and 6. So my numbers are negative 2 and 6. This time I'm going to show it with grouping just so that for my people who prefer grouping. So with grouping, what that means is that you have 3x squared and you're going to have minus 2x plus 6x minus 4, replacing 4x. You're going to group, factor out common factors. So we have 3x minus 2, factor out common factor, which is 2. 3x minus 2, depends on who you are. Some people don't like the box. And that means my factors are x plus 2 and 3x minus 2. So this is the factor for the numerator, and this is the factor for the denominator. I'm going to rewrite it all pretty. So now I'm working with x plus 2 times x minus 4 over x plus 2 times 3x minus 2. So I have factored, rewritten as multiplication. What's left to do?
But if you're just doing it by the by the x, if you're doing it by the x, wouldn't it just be like x? I would assume it'd be x minus 2 and x plus 6.
No, you would assume wrong.
And where does it change from that grouping?
Right here, negative 2 and 6 replace 4x. And so then that's where that grouping takes place. If not, stick to Xbox. Don't force yourself to do grouping. That's why I teach you both. So we have 3x minus 2. Now we got to state our restriction. What can x not equal? So remember, you're asking yourself if you take the denominator. So you have 3x minus 2 equals 0. Gives you 3x equals 2. Divide by 3. So x cannot equal 2/3. Okay. All right. I would like for you to, I would pause. I don't know about time. But if we had time, I will let you go. We have 5 minutes, though. I think we're gonna do them together. Here we go. So again, factoring. Factor the numerator. Numerator is just GCF, right? And what's the GCF? 3. So that leaves us with x plus 2x plus 5. Let me rewrite that. Okay. Denominator, again, x box or grouping. So if you're doing x box, 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. My b is 3. So it multiplies to give me negative 10, but adds to give me 3. That would be positive 5 and negative 2. Agreed? So if I take that into x box, just did a grouping example. First term in first box, last term in last box. And that gives my numbers from my x are 5x and negative 2. So GCF. GCF here is 2x. GCF here is 5. GCF here is x. GCF here is negative 1. So my denominator is written as x minus 1 times 2x plus 5. I've rewritten them. Step 2 is to simplify. So I eliminate 2x plus 5. And what am I left with? 3 over x minus 1. State my restriction. X cannot equal 1. All right, last one of part A. This is just simple GCF, right? So the GCF of the numerator is? No, it's not. They don't have anything in common. This is difference of two squares. So it becomes x minus y times x plus y. Over, and now it's just GCF. And what's the GCF of the denominator? They both have a 6, and they both have at least one x, right? So we're left with take out 6x, and we're left with x plus y. So we factored, we've rewritten as multiple of factors. Now we're going to simplify. X plus y. And we're left with x minus y over 6x. What's my restriction? X can't equal 0, because 6 times 0 would be. And bam. All right, that is part A. How do we feel? Do you feel like super math minded right now?